Okay, so now we are going to proceed on creating the video indexer controller for our project. So you will see that here in the server project we have the controllers folder. We are going to create a new class. We are going to name it video indexer controller. I believe it was the name we had chosen. Let's see, video indexer controller. Yeah. So class, it can be any kind of class actually. So just create an empty class. Video indexer controller. We need to make sure that um, this inherits from controller base. We are the using, and we'll set it to use set it as an API controller, and we are going to set the route to be the name of the controller. Okay, now we are going to create our constructor, and for now it's going to be like that. Here we are going to receive the Azure configuration settings by dependency injection. Now we will need to have a copy of all these values in our app settings in the website, because this is for our website itself. So we'll copy that in there. And then we need a way to access that. So we already know that this is named Azure configuration. Now we go to the startup.cs and we go to services. Services, actually, configuration, the get section, dot get. It's going to be of type Azure configuration, which is the name of the class we had before, and we are going to set that to a variable. Now we have a problem here because this class currently only exists in our test project. So what we are going to do is we are going to take this class and we are going to move it to our test project, to our shared project. I am going to paste it in here, and I'm going to change the namespace to basically the same namespace for all the classes in the root of this project. So that will mean that I can now add a namespace in here, and that's been found. And at the same time I actually have to go to the test project and fix the delete the configuration from here actually, because now we have it shared. That means that now we actually have to change, let's fix this, add the here we need to add a reference to the test project, to the shared project, I'm sorry. And now we are able to add the using for that class, but we also need to remove the using for the one we just deleted. So let's wait a second. My machine is loading something. Okay, so I'll delete this. Azure configuration. Yeah, we can do this. And now everything seems to be working okay. Now we go back to the startup. In the server project, we have the instance for the configuration, but now we need to add it as a singleton to the services. So services dot add singleton, and we'll add the Azure configuration as a singleton. That will allow us to receive the Azure configuration as an injected parameter in here, so that every time our constructor is instantiated or any any endpoint is being called, we can use what we had stored. Okay, we will create a private variable in here, and we are now going to create our uh, endpoint for listing videos. Public async task list videos. It's going to be a task of action result, and we need to import the namespace for the task type. Okay, this is going to be an HTTP GET. And now I don't like to use the approach that many people use of having just get, set, get, put, delete the um, just the verbs uh, in the class. For me, that actually ends up creating a lot of classes. So I rather actually use this way so that my endpoints are named with the name of the method. So basically, if I name this list videos, if I use this action under the brackets, uh, they're, yeah, they're the with those signs, um, my endpoint is going to be recognized as list videos instead of just a get, instead of just by the verb. Okay, so um, right now let's see. Let's just return null in this case. Let's see what it says. It says it is a thing, and I am not using await yet, so that's okay. And now um, when our um, when we implement our website, we will receive this from the website. But in the case of the test, we are not going to use dependency injection. We are just going to pass the values that we receive from configuration. So list videos test. Basically, what we are going to do is we are going to create we'll add a reference to the server um, project. Now we are going to create an instance of video indexer controller. We are going to initialize it, and you see that here is it actually needs the type. That's why we added in the that's why we added the variable before in there. Result equals await controller these videos, and assert dot is not null. result. So yeah, we need to make this in sync. I don't like it when it uses the whole namespace, so we'll add it there, and then we should be able to run this test. So we'll go to the tests and we look for it in here, list videos, debug test. And let's see if we have any errors. Actually, I believe I have some errors in there. So let's rebuild the application. Let's see that everything is okay, or if we have any issues. Then we try again to um, debug the test. So our test is going to be executed. Well, that's the setup. Okay, we are here. We see that the Azure configuration actually has a value. Now we go to all these videos and you see that we are returning null in this case, and then if it is null we are failing the test. So that's we know that our test is actually working. Now we remember that one of the first things we need to have is, for these videos we actually needed to create the async token. So basically now we are going to add a get account access, an access token. Okay, HTTP get. We don't really need this to be set up as HTTP get for the unit test, but we will need that for when we are invoking all of our APIs from endpoints from our HTTP client requests. Now, okay, so what was the URL for getting the token? You remember that we actually had it in here. We needed to have, this is the basis for the, that's the base URL, or that's the URL for, that's the request URL. So request URL, it's going to be, we are going to copy it and then we are going to modify it. We are going to use the interpolation string because there are things we actually need to modify in a second. Okay. 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 So now things that we need to modify. First is this. Now we actually need to get it from the Azure configuration dot video indexer configuration dot location. That's actually something I missed to add. So we'll create that. It's going to be a property created in there. It's going to be a string. And now we need to add a location in here, in both actually. which is going to be named trial. And also we need to add the account ID, which I did forget to. And the account ID in this case is the one we had in the portal, which is actually the one you had here, remember? The one we copied from the portal. Okay, now I am going to copy that to the other JSON for the test project. And let's see. The access token is actually this is not the one for the access token, I believe. This is for the one for these videos. The one for the access token is this one, so I can miss it a little bit in there. Okay, yes, this is going to go to out. Okay, yeah, out trial counts access token and allow with it. And if it is not sent, we will assume that it's not, we are not going to allow to edit. So here, set hello with it. Here, we are going to use Azure configuration, location. This one we replace with the account ID. I believe I didn't add it as a property. And we will go set it to a string. Then in here we are going to use an HTTP client. System dot net dot http client equals new http client. Now we are going to do it like this at the moment, but then later we are probably use the better way, which is using an HTTP client factory. Right now I only want it like that. Something that you will see is that here we actually need to set in the headers, we need to send the subscription key. So in here we are going to add at the default headers, we are going to add a new header, which is going to have the subscription key. Okay, and now our result equals client dot get string async request URL. Okay, that's going to be the result, and then we are going to return an okay. Sorry, okay with the result, which is going to be of a string value. Now in our unit test, we are going to create video controller, an instance of the controller. Remember that we need to pass it the configuration. Result is going to be with controller get account access token. We are going to set the allow edit to false. Actually, yeah, we are going to set it to false. And then we need to make this asynchronous. Okay, now what's this type? We see that this is of iAction result. So let's see. Execute result async. Let's see if we can do something in there. We don't have action context. So I believe we can actually verify that. So let's see, this one is on Microsoft ASP.NET Core MVC. ASP.NET Core MVC. Result. Okay. So if result is okay, result, we have the token. Let's see if we can actually get the value from here. Execute result. I don't know if we can get it. So if it is we can add so assert dot is instance of type result. Okay, result. Otherwise, type of. Okay, result, I think. And then invalid result. Okay, so let's test that. Let's compile this. Okay, let's go to the tests. Let's run the get account access token async. So let's see if everything works as expected. Okay, let's see location. We have trial, account ID. We have the account ID. That seems to be okay. The subscription key. There we have the subscription key. We add it to the headers. And let's see what the result has. The results actually has our the results has our generated token. So we know this is working. Now we are returning an OK, and this OK. Let's see. Okay, so that didn't work. Let's see, is true. Result is okay. Result. I believe that may work. Otherwise, I believe we can make it casting the variable into one OK result and checking if it is not null. Or the other thing we can do is actually probably checking the status code if we get in there. So the book test, and let's see what happens now. Okay, this all of this is going to be just the same. I'll remove the breakpoints from there. Okay, everything is going to be the same. And let's see, is this going to give us true or not? It seems it's false. Okay, so let's see. We have result in there. And let's see what we have access. Let's see if we can do okay result from result. Let's see if this actually works. So it doesn't allow us to do that. Let's see what we could do. Okay, object result. Okay. Okay. Object result. Result. So if we change this expression to is okay object result, that should probably give us true. Okay. Object result. Okay. So that's the one we actually have to use. Okay, object result. Otherwise, it's not a valid result. Now, we can go to the code for listing the videos. Listing the videos. Okay, so we need to do something similar actually. We copy the URL. We go to create a request URL. Okay, we set this for interpolation. Actually, in here, we should change this for the base URL, just in case that URL changes sometime. Okay, so we are going to change this base URL. This is going to be the location. Okay, this is going to be our account ID. And the access token is going to be we are going to retrieve. So what we can do is extract the method, get account access token. Um, it's having the same name, so I need to use a different name. Let's see. Token string. Ah, okay. Get account access token string, and our endpoint is basically get a string result from this one where we have all the code, and it's going to return an OK result. But now in our list video we can use the private method var account access token equals await this get account access token is string. Do we need to be able to edit those videos for listen them? No. So now what we can do is account access token string. We are going to set the var result equals await. We need to instantiate the client again, so we are going to create this. Well, to copy that, and we do not need get the string async, and we are going to use now the request URL, and we are going to return an OK result. So if everything works okay, when we execute our list videos test, we are going to get a list of videos invoking this list videos action from the controller. Now you will see that we actually haven't started creating the pages and the website. We already have the server logic. We know it's working. So when we start creating the UI, pretty much we will only care about developing the UI and configuring the dependency injection in the server side. So let's go again to the tests. Let's see list videos sync. Let's debug the test, and let's see what happens now. Okay, it's going to get the access token. Okay, I'll show you something I forgot to do, that this is not going to work. This is actually going to throw an error, and we see that the error, it will say, see, not name nor server name provided or not known. Base API URL, it actually had something, I think. Okay, the thing that it didn't have was this. What happens with the get account access token string is that it actually returns a string where it returns a string where the initial and the end character is a double quote. So we need to remove those before passing that to other as parameter to other calls. So let's compile, let's wait for this to finish, and let's go back to the test and let's try again to run this test. Let's just verify that. Let's see, request URL, is this request URL? Okay, I need to remove that from there. That seems to be some of the things that I was missing. And we can run the test. So we already got the token. Now we see that the access token does not have the uh, the quotes. And if we invoke this, it should work. Now you see that here we have the list of videos in JSON format. Now, something that we are going to do is we are going to create a we're going to create some models in here. So we are going to create a folder, models. Azure video indexer. We are going to create a folder list videos, and we are going to create a new file, list videos result, and this file or this class is going, or this file is actually the one which is going to have our classes definition. Now in Visual Studio you basically can go and copy the JSON and do okay, so you copy the JSON. This is the one for the list videos result. If you have Visual Studio, you basically can go to the class, do edit. There you will see a page special, and you select page JSON as classes. If you are using Visual Studio for Mac or Visual Studio Code, I think there are some extensions. I don't know one for either. So basically, you can go to a JSON. I mean, C sharp, or yeah, JSON to C sharp online. I always forget this one. JSON to C sharp is actually really good. You basically copy the JSON, you hit convert, and it will generate the classes, the C sharp classes that represent the JSON you just passed to it. sometimes it does take a little bit, or yeah, when that actually takes a lot, you can reload, and that um, tends to work a little bit faster. Copy this to the clipboard, and now in your file you copy the classes. Of course, you change the name, list videos response. I'll add the namespace to the list, and let's see. Okay, so in our bit index controller, you can go and in the list videos, instead of doing a get string async, we can do get from JSON async. You need to add the namespace system.net.http.json, and in this list videos you set the type list videos response, and you can convert it in case you want to convert it and inspect it somehow. So you see that here we have results, next page, and then the results. The next page basically has the paging information for the results. You see it has, it tells you if it is done, it tells you how many items you have there in the page, how many were skipped. So it tells you basically on which page you are, and in the results you have a list. You have a list where you will have, for each element you will have account ID, created, description, indexing percent, etc, etc, etc. So let's just verify that this actually works. Now, one recommendation in this case, you can actually return the string as it is without casting it. If you are not going to use the variable for anything else before returning the data, you are basically using a little bit of CPU for nothing, because you are converting it in another type, parsing the JSON and everything, for basically not using it or reconverting it again to a string. So if you don't need it, you may not want to do it. I usually tend to do it in case I use it for something else before, or so I can inspect the variables and all that. But yeah, if you really care about performance, you may not need to do this conversion if you are only going to return the same thing. So let's see. Let's go back to our tests. Let's debug our test. Let's put a breakpoint in here and another one here, just so we don't miss anything. Let's see. So we need to wait a little bit for that to finish loading. Let's see where we are. Actually, okay, so list of videos. let's see, now we have the result. You see that the result is actually already casted or converted to our strong type, and we can navigate through it, and we can see all of the properties in here, and we can see all of the information for this. So we already have the basics for our project testing. We already implemented the get account access and get account access token and the list videos actions in the controller, so that actually allows us to easily create the page for listing the videos uh, from our Blazor client side project. One thing we actually need to modify here is this. So we actually need to copy this validation. And now, well, let's compile this, and I'll just run both tests, and both tests should actually pass. And then what happens is that any change we do in the server, or pretty much we can configure anytime we do a check-in or a commit, we can configure that the unit tests are execute automatically, and so we know that our code is actually working okay. So let's run the test. Let's wait for those tests to finish being executed. You see that they are being executed here, and you see that both tests passed. So we know our application is in a good state at the moment. So in the next video, we'll actually implement the page for listing the videos in our Blazor WebAssembly project in the client side. Thank you very much and have a great day.